Okay, first off, I'm not associated with Upland in any way, and this is not financial advice. Upland is a game that you can play. It requires money to play, and well, it doesn't really require it, but it's easier to play if you spend a little bit of money. And you can get some reward back, but it's not easy at this point, and so most of us are still saying it's not an investment of any sort. There are players that will try to take advantage of you, so be wary of that. And the best place to get help is now in-game in the Discord channel. If you look for general chat or new player chat, those are the two best places to find help. Even if you're not a new player, it's still a great place to ask for advice. This season in Upland, we're being told that troves are coming again. It will probably be called another beta test. The last one was called an alpha test, but this time they're only releasing, I believe they're only releasing troves for plants. Now, plants are, like, they've been encouraging us to plant as many plants as we can. But it's still like the world's a big place. Upland is getting bigger and bigger by the day. And so the ability to find a plant is actually still fairly difficult. If I go to my block explorer, I'm in Las Vegas at the moment, and if I were to just zoom into where I am and try to find a plant, you'll see that they're pretty rare. There's one here. There's a couple here. There's one here, one here, one here. If I zoom in a little closer, you'll see what they are. They're like bushes, and this one's hasn't been fed much. Neither has this one, for that matter. I mean, if you were just roaming around, it might take you quite a long time to find a plant. And what happens when to get a trove from a plant, you have to click and hold onto it, and you have to be fairly close. Like, I'm gonna go to this property, which is not far from where I am, but you have to be very close to the plants to be able to collect the troves from it. And what happens is it just shakes like that, and then there's an explosion, and then you will get a trove. At the moment, there are no troves available. That's still to be released. But the idea is that by clicking and holding on the plant, it will release a trove for you, and then you will collect them. And troves, if you haven't seen them before, are these things. Like, there'd be grapes and garlic. It probably, at the beginning, I imagine it's only going to be vegetables and fruits and things like that, because it's all coming from plants. But we don't really know. And right now it's showing no recipes are available. And recipes are when you blend two or more troves together to get another item. And so at the moment, this is what we have from last time the test happened. So anyways, the problem is going to be finding the plants. And you can see that, like, even at places where players have spent a lot of effort and a lot of UPX and Sparklet to build buildings, there's some cases where there's no plants. So you can't, this time around, this whole property, even with all of the structures on it, isn't going to be useful to you because there's no plants. Same with this one. It looks like there's nothing here in the way of plants. So, I mean, you could spend a lot of time roaming around trying to find where are the plants. If you're a seasoned player, you will know where the popular places are. And in Las Vegas, I believe there's a lot of building that's been happening in Sunrise. And you can see that there's a lot of people planting plants now. But it's still only one per property. So it's still not like you can't, you could stay in this area and collect a lot of troves, but you're still having to look around to see, where are they. So there's going to be places like this one, for example. You could spend a bit of time here and click on each one of the trees. This is not what I would call a gold mine, but it's better than just one plant per property. But regardless of that, there's going to be areas where there will be a lot of planting and some where there isn't. And for example, myself, I planted a number of plants on this one property that I had as a test, and it's each little square would release a trove. So if I were to come here every day, I could collect quite a few troves, assuming that each time you tickle or pet a plant that it releases a trove. I imagine there may be times where you pet it and nothing happens. And they've told us that there's a refresh time where if you click it once and then try to click it right again, you basically will get nothing the second time around, or third time or fourth time. So you have to wait. There's a cool down period of, I think it's an hour. So you would only be able to come back to this after an hour. And that's once per player. So if another player came and clicked on this right after I did, they would also get a trove, but then they would have to wait an hour for their timer to reset. So it's a per player timer, not a per activity, I guess you'd call it, or interaction. But even still, if you were to look here, the only reason you would come here to collect troves is for my property. There are no other plants in this whole area. So again, you're going to want to bookmark essentially places to find troves. So it looks like this guy's been doing some work too. So this would actually be a good place to come. So this is not what I would call a gold mine, but there's a lot of different or several different types of plants and grass and flowers that you can interact with. So this would be a good place to bookmark. Here's another one. There's a lot of grass here that you could interact with. So this would be another place that you would want to interact or to come to on a regular basis. So these are the things, like you're going to need to find the properties that you want to interact with when you want to collect troves. And this is why I created the Clipboard Manager in the first place, was to basically save addresses that you would like to come back to quite often. And to get the Clipboard Manager, if you go to the Extensions tab, this is a Chrome browser. This only works in Chrome. Chrome browsers are like Brave or Chrome or Edge, for example. Those are browsers that are based on the Chrome programming, I guess you'd call it. Google has a web store where you can find extensions that work with Chrome browsers. And if you go to that and type in Upland, you'll see that there are a number of extensions that have been made by players, and they do different things. And the one that I'm looking at today is this one. This is the one I made. It's called the Upland Clipboard Manager. And if you were to install it, I already have it installed, but the button would be here. And I've made a video on how it works, but this is the new video on how the new version works. I've updated it since then. So once you install it, it will appear in your extensions manager. If you don't have any extensions turned on at the time, you won't see this icon in your tray, and you will have to go to your manage extensions. The one that we're looking at is this one, Upland Clipboard Manager. You can turn it on and off, or you can remove it. You can find out the details of it. But if you turn it on and then go to the little icon in the toolbar, and then if you pin it to the toolbar, which is what these things are, if you turn it on or off. So if I were to turn it on or off, you can see it appearing and disappearing in the list. That makes it stay there permanently. If I were to unpin it, it disappears, and I would have to find it using this method. So anyway, so what the Clipboard Manager is I'll just zoom in a bit, just hang on. If you zoom in on your screen in Chrome with Upland, this doesn't happen with every site, but because the properties are on a separate level than the assets are, you will get this drifting effect. And to zoom in and out, you can press Control and plus, and Control minus will zoom in and out, and Control 0 resets the screen. So if I press Control 0, it resets to the default. If I press Control plus, you can see it's zooming in. And but as you see, as I zoom in, the properties and the buildings no longer are moving together. To fix that, just refresh the screen. And we're going to go back here. Okay, we were at this location. So when you zoom in, though, obviously some things will be a little bit different. The resolution of everything becomes a little bit more pixelated, but you can see things a little bit better. So the idea of this Clipboard Manager is that you can save addresses, and this is the address tab, and the idea for this is that you're saving groups of addresses. If you look here, I've got a group essentially that you can add to, like if you want to create a group called, let's call it Troves. So, well, let's call it Troves Miami. No, this is Las Vegas, sorry. Okay, so now I've got a group called Troves in Vegas. So if I were to add an address to this group, I would then be able to store that essentially. So to find what the address is for this location, you click on the property, not any of the, like if you click on something, it will bring up what that item is. So that's, in this case, that's not what we were looking for. We want the property card. And for some properties, that's going to be difficult to find, because if you actually cover the entire property with assets or grass or plants or whatever, you may need to struggle to find a spot to click on. Like if I click on the car, it brings up information about the car. If I click on the house, it brings up information about the house. So the whole property card is the thing we're looking for at the moment, because we need the address of this, because that's what we're trying to store. So if I click on the property, you can now see that there's something called Found on Page, where it's found the address and the city of this property. And the thing we want to save in this case is just the address right up to the comma. We don't want to save the city. I've got the two different buttons here. One is saving just the city, or sorry, just the property street address, and the other one saves the street address and the city. This comes in handy sometimes for some things in Upland, and this is what we want most of the time. We don't need that one for this, so I'm going to delete that. But once I get rid of that, if you were to ask me what this street address now is, without looking at this, I wouldn't remember it. I would have to write it down. And that's the whole point of this, is that you no longer have to remember where your favorite addresses are. So if I have a group called nurseries where I've recorded nurseries that I go to on a regular basis. And those are them. So the default for me right now is just another address that I have in Miami. But if I went back here, you can see now it's listing this address again. So if I had that one, and let's say I go to my address as well, which is just over here. And I click on the property, and then I save that. I've now got two properties that I know have a bunch of plants on them, and those are places I could collect troves. So this, as far as I'm concerned, is going to be a big deal for me, at least anyways, because it will help me find the places I want to go to quickly to collect troves. And you have to be in the city that you're collecting troves from. You have to, as you saw before, you have to be at the property to collect the troves. So this is the next thing, is like, okay, so I've got the property addresses. What good does that do me? So if I were to, let's say I want to collect troves right now. If I were to press this paste button for this first one that we recorded, you'll see that it brings up the search feature, which is this feature, and it automatically enters that address. I can bring it up manually and do the same thing. It's just basically just pasting it into that selection. Now, Upland uses, I believe they use Google's search engine to find addresses in the real world. And so this is what's showing, is that there's more than one address that Google has found that matches this search term. It obviously doesn't match it exactly. I don't know what it's actually looking for, but this is the one we want. Sometimes it's the top one in the list, sometimes it's not. You'll just have to look at what you have pasted in, and it'll show you what you want. Now, the other thing is that if we were to, I'll just go back here. Well, actually, I'll go to the address. I'll show you what happens when you do this correctly. It takes you directly to the address. Now, if we were to have saved the address and the city, this is what happens when you try that. It will still paste it in there, and sometimes it will find it, but sometimes it won't. And it's because the city is on the second row of this address. So sometimes Upland has spelt it correctly, and sometimes they haven't. And I don't mean there's a spelling mistake. It just means that the way Google wants to see it is different than the way Upland has listed it. So sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. In this case, we got lucky and it did. So anyways, this is the thing, is that I could save a whole pile of addresses for Las Vegas, which is where I am right now. This is where my Block Explorer is. If I zoom out again, you can see that my Block Explorer is in Vegas. Another way to find that is just to click the little pawn here, and it'll go to your Block Explorer. So let's say I want to collect some troves. I click on this, it finds the address, I go there. I would then have to send to that location, and I'll do that right now. You still have to click on the property card and push send and confirm. Now my Block Explorer goes there, and now I can spend the next however long clicking on each little square, and it'll give me a little explosion, and it'll give me a trove in the long run. When I'm done with this one, then I could move on to the next one, which is just a little ways away. And then I could send to this property, which is mine. So that doesn't cost me anything. And then I could continue to mine for troves here. So this is kind of like the use of this as I saw it when I designed it. So the main thing you have to worry about is that it depends on which city you're in as to which group you're going to use. So if you're clever, you will create trove groups for each city that you like to be in. You can delete like this group, which I'm not going to do, or you can edit the name. So that's pretty much the address tab. The Finder tab is a little bit different. It's meant for when we have pre-sales. Sometimes Upland releases the information to a spreadsheet, and there is no find feature on the spread. Well, there is in your browser. You can find an address on the spreadsheet, but the spreadsheet is protected, so you can't actually copy the address. You have to write it down. And that's a pain in the butt. So I have this that will actually search for your name on the spreadsheet and copy the addresses for you. And then you can just paste them into the search feature in Upland and it'll go to that address. This is mainly meant for pre-sales that Upland has. The other thing is they do send you an email now with the address in it. They didn't used to do that. And so that is also helpful. But just in case they continue to do the spreadsheet idea, that's what this is for. The compare tab is if somebody sends you a swap, they want to trade one property for another. A lot of times you have to do some research to find out if they're giving you a good deal or a bad deal. Most of the time they're giving you a bad deal. So it's if you just wanted to deny everything, that would be the best solution. But occasionally some people want a specific address that you have, and they're willing to give you something better in return because they want that item. They don't want you to give it to someone else or not give it to anybody. So it does help to be able to compare the two addresses. And all this is doing is just looking at the main information that's on your property card. It's not doing anything wonderful. It's just showing you what the purchase price is, the earnings, like all the property size, the regular things, anything it can pull off this card, essentially. So it's not meant to replace doing the full search in, let's say, UPX land or Uplytics, but it's just a quick way to see, is it a good deal or a bad deal? And again, don't rely on this only. If it's close or if you're unsure, do some more research. The last tab on the clipboard is for essentially placing map assets on a property. I don't know if you've used the normal method we're supposed to use to place map assets, but it can be quite difficult. It's not as easy as we would like it to be, and I imagine Upland's working on that. But to place an asset on a property, you don't actually have to be there, not like collecting troves. You can do it from another city, essentially. And I have been placing some on a property that I have in Miami. And so I'll just go there and place a few more so you can see how this works. I'm building up a post office, and I want to put some tiles that I purchased in the store. Upland is now selling some map assets in the store, and I like the look of these ones, the warm feldstone ones. So I bought a bunch, and now I'm having to place them. And they're going around at the moment. I'm putting them around these two stands. One's a chicken stand and the other one's a hot dog stand. And I've planted grass, but I didn't want to just continue planting grass underneath everything. So I thought, well, I'll border it with some tiles. And that actually, I think that kind of looks nice. It's not perfectly centered, but what can you do? You will see that there's little lines that are the gaps in between the tiles, and there isn't much you can do about that at the moment. If I'll show you this in a minute, but the snapping feature doesn't work if there are two objects that the map asset can snap to, and it works the same with planting as well. If there are two items that it could snap to, it doesn't snap to anything, which makes it difficult to align things. And in this case, the alignment's pretty close, so it's not that visible. And all of these objects have height, so if you look on an angle, you don't really see it. But for now, the tiles are actually smaller. Like you can see that the tile is below the level of the grass. So anywhere the tile intersects with the grass, and you can see this tile is actually underneath the grass. So that can make it look tidy. And so that's actually kind of useful as well. Normally, tiles will snap to grass if they're just out in the open. But the problem ends up being where the property may not be square. And this happens a lot in Upland. It's the real world. I don't know if they did this just by using the property boundaries that are in, let's say, Google Maps. I don't know if it's the Google Maps they're using, but the boundaries are not always parallel or perpendicular to each other. For example, this line on this side of the boundary is not parallel to this line, and this line is not parallel to this line. So when I start planting a piece of grass here, and I try to make it come all the way to the end, this line is not parallel to this line. You can't actually put a piece of grass in here anyways, but the thing is that if I were to run a stretch of grass down here that's parallel, or that's running along the border of the property on this side, and then I were to run one down here, and then I join the two with grass this way, this line isn't going to be parallel with this line, essentially. So when the two get merged together, if I were to continue this on, there would be an angled gap in here. So the way that you would solve, it's almost as though you're trying to make a copy of the Mona Lisa on a Picasso landscape. The two just aren't similar for the way that things work. But the end result is that you end up trying to cover the mistakes that you have with other map assets. So I've actually asked one of the designers to create a small green strip of grass, or not grass, but something that looks like grass, that we can place underneath the gaps, so that you won't see the gaps. And you really only, because the grass has height, you only see the gap when you are looking straight down on it. But it does appear as a white line. Like even here, these are as close as I could get them. And there's a pretty bold white line there, even on an angle. And so we're doing a test first to see if we can get the grass lines to disappear. And if that works, then I'm thinking that we'll build little brown strips to hide the white showing through for flowers. And I imagine at some point Upland will change the way this works, and it won't look like this anymore. But for now, we'd like our properties to look good. Not that it doesn't. Like I said, it's trying for Mona Lisa on a terrible landscape. But anyways, the idea is that you're trying to place map assets on a property, and if we were to do it the way Upland has set it up, I'll just hide this for the moment. We go to assets, and then you go to map assets, and then you have to type in the map asset that you want. And right now I don't remember what this is called. I know it's called a tile, but if I were to type in tile, I get a lot of different types of tiles. These are all the ones that I own, so that's not helpful. But I do know that these ones that I purchased, I just bought them recently. So if I were to scroll down, they're near the bottom, and here they are. It's the warm feldstone pathway, but I'm looking for the square ones, not the. So this is what I want, is the warm feldstone pathway square section. So I have some that haven't been placed. These ones, the ones that don't have the place button are these ones that are already placed on the property. If I go to the Clipboard Manager, and there's two things I need. One is the name of the asset that I want to place, and the other one is the address. And this address works similar to the way it does on the address tab. I haven't made groups for this, but I could. But I was thinking that realistically, people are going to spend time on one property at a time. So once they're done, that's it. But I need the address, first of all. So if I click on the property and bring up the card, this will work the same way, if it happens, there we go, that it does for the address. So if it found the address on the page, and I click save, and now it's in the address row. And so that's the first part. And the second part that I need, like I said, is the name of the map asset. And I don't remember what that was, but I'll go back there. Now I have created, instead of clicking this and then the asset button and then trying to scroll over, I created a shortcut. You just click on the open map asset search, and it will do all of that for you. It brings you straight to the map asset section of assets in your menu. It's basically just pressing the buttons for you. It's not a bot in the sense that it's doing anything strange. It's just clicking the buttons in the browser for you to get you to this point quickly. It's saving you time, and it's helpful. It's what Upland calls a quality of life improvement. So now I want to, like I said, I want to go back to the ones that I was looking for, and that's what they're called, the warm. So I'm going to type this in. I haven't got to copy this yet. It's a little bit difficult to do, but warm fieldstone. And you're really only going to have to type this out once. And you don't have to type out the entire thing. If there are no other map assets that you have that say warm, you could just type that in and it'll find it. But in this case, there are several different types of tiles that start with warm feldstone pathway. And if I were to type in square section, that would include the limestone and other ones as well. And I mean, you could just, once you've typed it in, you could search for the name you're looking anyway, but I'm going to type the whole thing in just so you can see how it works. And so I don't need to type any more than that, because that's going to be enough. So when I have this here, it will save it, and now if I paste this, it will automatically paste it into the search bar, and you'll see now that it's the list is filtered to that particular item, and you can see that there are a bunch that I haven't placed. So if I were to place this, and now it's asking me for the property, and if I didn't have the property saved here, I wouldn't remember what it was. uh, I would have to have written it down and then I would have to type it out. So if I just press the paste button for the address, you'll see that it now gets pasted into there. And it obviously has narrowed it down to that one address that I have. This is searching my addresses, not all of Upland. So this should produce the correct address if you've already copied it from the property card. So I'm going to press select, and now it automatically places the tile on this property. And from this point, you're just locating it same as you normally would. Now, this is where the tricky part of aligning things comes in. These two stands are aligned to this edge of the property, but the grass was aligned to this edge of the property. So the two aren't perpendicular to each other. And if I were to align, like when you snap the item, it's hard to see, but it is actually snapping to the grass. So now it's aligned to the grass. If I were to bring this over here and align this, it's hard to see, but it's not a perfect alignment. It's actually aligning the top before it aligns the bottom because the two aren't perpendicular to each other. So I have made sure that I left a small portion of the hot dog stand. Let's try and get this here so that now I can align it to the hot dog stand, which is aligned to the edge of the property. Because the property and the hot dog stand are so close to each other, this looks like it's way out here, but it's actually, this is the footprint of the hot dog stand. And so it's this item, the map asset, is trying to align itself to both the hot dog stand and the property. And then it says, oh, I've got two things I won't align to either. So this is where some of the snapping problems in Upland at the moment come into play. But like I said, I've snapped it, instead of snapping it to the grass, I am now snapping it to the hot dog stand. And so now it's parallel with this line is parallel with the hot dog stand, which means it's parallel with the property edge. So now when I align the two, this line is straight. Now the other problem is that you can't tell, like if these two things are overlapping, when I try to do this, it will tell me it does not fit because you can't have two tiles overlapping. So I have to get them as close as I can. And there is no way to tell if they are intersecting with each other. There used to be a way where the border of this would turn red, but the border now is the outside of the tile, and so you can't see it. Even if you were to rotate down, you can kind of see that it's red along the bottom, but it's not really as visible as you'd like it to be. Anyway, so the idea is that you want to, for me, I want to get it as close as I can without actually overlapping. And that looks like that's what that is. So if I collect this, it says, yes, that's what it's now good. So I can now select that and done. So, so again, I'll place another tile. And this is how, once you've got the two things in the list, it becomes much easier. So what I want to do is open the map asset search. It brings me to the assets, map assets page. Then I paste in the item, and it's now limited me to all the ones that I have. I want to place one that's not already placed, so I'll just pick this one. And now it's going to ask me where do I want to put it, and I want to select the address, and then I push select, and then it places it. And away I go. I'm aligning it, and now, actually I'm going to do this, fill in the gap with this one. And this is where zooming in with the browser actually helps. if you were to zoom out, I'm just going to do this, you'll see that it becomes harder to try and align things. You're not able to see the gaps as easily. So that's why I tend to do this. I don't know where I was, but let's pretend it's there. I'm just gonna, oh, I lost my menu. It went off the screen. Okay, that looks good. And it's not overlapping. So I'll do another one. Open map asset search. This is the one I want. I go to one that's not placed yet. I select the address. And then I place it. And again, I'm aligning it to the object that I wanted aligned to. And then moving it. I also have something on my mouse, which is a button just above the wheel. And if I press it, it speeds up and slows down the rate at which the mouse moves. And so it has 4 settings. And if I move it to the slow setting, it makes it easier to align objects. And again, that looks like they're next to each other, but it's telling me that they're overlapping. So I have to move it 1 square or 1 line over, which is this is the hard part right now. And again, it's as close as I can get, it still shows a line. So, but luckily with map assets, if you place it, it's not there forever. You can actually you can change it. Anyways, that's what the items tab does. And it's making it a little easier to place map assets because it's taking away the need for you to type in the address and the item that you're looking for all the time. It's making that a little easier. I'll go to another one and just say, let's say fence. There's a lot of fences, but if I were to type in fence here, and then I found one that's the 1 meter black, so I'll type that in, 1 meter black, and now that's all that shows up. So if I were to copy this and paste it here, I can also have that as something that I would use. And if I delete this, or even close this altogether, so now if I were to open map assets, and instead of looking for the feldstone, I want to look for the 1 meter black fence, I would just type this in and then select whichever one I wanted. In this case, it's already on another property. So the way I would do this is to move item 2. And when I click this, it's now asking me where do I want it to go. And I would use the same address button, paste it, and it's going to show me that. So I don't want to move that, so I'm not going to do that. But that's how that would work. And so anyways, this is pretty much the use of the Clipboard Manager. It's just to save you time. It's not meant to be a bot. The bot idea Upland is completely against. They don't want players creating a bot that will do everything for you. And that's not what this is meant to be. This is meant to help you play the game. It's a quality of life improvement until Upland changes the way that we are allowed to do things in the game. Like right now, the best thing they could do for us is allow us to place, let's say, 10 or 20 map assets in a bundle on the property. And I believe that might be a bit harder than we think it is, but that would definitely speed up the decorating process, as if you could place a bunch of things on the property at once. That obviously wouldn't work for grass at the moment, or plants in general. You have to position the seed where you want it, and then once you've done that, it's there forever, unless you uproot it. So for map assets, it's another tool that I use on a regular basis. Like lately for this, it's been quite a lot. But anyways, thanks very much for watching. If you have any problems with it, or if you have any questions or things that you'd like to see added to it, just get in touch with me in-game. My name in-game is Cape Madman. And you can send me a message or contact me on Discord. Either way. Thanks for watching.